Hi, I'm Laura Holyoke, and I am recording a quick introduction to our course, an introduction to organization development. My son is behind me, laughing at me. I'm going to do an introduction to myself and then how I will be teaching organization development, that is using lenses or frames. Hey, okay. So I just took myself off. That way I won't have to be so conscious of it. But here's an introduction to myself. In the lower left-hand corner, I'm going to start there because I feel like I'm like this in life quite a bit. That is, I walk around like everything is fine, but deep down inside my shoe, my sock is sliding off. It's the idea of, yeah, we have it all put together on the surface, but we don't always feel that way. And I think I'm there quite a bit of the time. With that said, I have an 8-year-old son. His name is Caleb. He is just starting 3rd grade in a few days. But the upper left-hand corner is Caleb swimming with a friend, playing on a hot summer day on our way back from the Seven Devils Wilderness. This is Toll Lake. On the upper right-hand corner, it's me and Caleb again. This is us taking a break rock climbing in Vantage, Washington, also known as Frenchman Coulee area. In the smack middle, this is Francis. He is Caleb's spotted gecko and quite a character in our house. And then lower right-hand corner, this is a picture that I took up at Seven Devils this summer. And the lower right-hand corner of the picture is Luke, our coveted border collie husky dog, who's also a rescue dog. One more quick slide. As my introduction, I've adopted this word that's right smack in the middle, and I really like it. It's the idea that we're flawsome, that I'm an individual, that I embrace my flaws because I have very many of them, and I know that I'm awesome regardless. And my guess is all of you fall in that category. Anyhow, so on this slide in the upper left-hand corner, this is me and my dad up in Alaska fishing this summer, king salmon fishing on the Russian River. The upper right-hand corner, this is Mount Whitney, tallest mountain in California, which I attempted with some friends late May and got weathered off. You can tell that I'm a little bit of an adventurer. I do like to do quite a bit of outdoorism. And then in the lower right-hand corner, this is me and a group of my friends doing the Muddy Run in St. John, Washington. Comes up in September. I'm the short one in that group. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about what organization develop is, how I teach it, and why we're going to use the office, expectations that I have for your papers, and expectations that I have for your blog assignments. I keep using my space button, but that doesn't forward this. Classic definition of organization development by Beckard. You should have read this, I'm guessing. So just a quick note that it's organization development and not organizational development. Anyhow, planned change that's organization-wide and managed from the top in order to do good stuff, increase organization effectiveness and health through planned interventions, and in using organization's processes, that is. So this uses behavioral science knowledge. So in other words, organization development, in order to plan some change, you really have to look at what's going on and what is effective and what is not effective. The O in organization development is about organizations and systems that that make up the organizations. Now I can't even say the word. And then the D is about change and improvement, that developing something, developing individuals, developing processes within the organization, developing teams, making things better and improving. Overall, organization development, more successful and effective for organizations. It helps individuals, I think I just said this, helps teams, group dynamics, and helps organizations. That's what organization development professionals do. We are going to practice being organization development professionals on The Office. And I chose The Office because it can be a bit of a challenge to watch. Many people tend to have biased views about what's going on and opinions and make judgments and say, think that we usually think we know what's best to do in this case. So I'm using it because I think it's kind of fun. I do cringe while I'm watching it, but it's also, like I said, a good exercise in just observing what's going on. Most of our course is going to be looking through 4 different frames or lenses. Bowman and Deal call them frames. I tend to refer to them as lenses and change the name of a couple of them or adjust them to fit my needs a little bit better. So these 4 frames or lenses are the structural, human resource, which I also call trifocal, the cultural lens, which Bowman and Deal call, I can't remember now, and then a political lens. Keep doing this silly thing. So if you're looking at the work of an organization development professional, there's 4 different steps here, 4 different ways that a professional works. The first one is researching and evaluating systems. And this is where we are going to focus for this course, is researching and evaluating the systems, if you can think of systems as the lenses that we're going to look through. We won't get to very much at all identifying approaches or interventions to improving. And then part of the organization development process, I'm sure that you have read, is applying those changes and then collecting data to see if that's effective and adjusting that. So our goal is to develop skills of seeing through the multiple lenses. That is reframing. It doesn't change anything that's happening in organizations. My guess is that most of you, as we go through the frames, will learn more about your own organizations. And I often consider this an organization that we are all part of is our family organizations. So the issues remain the same. What I want to challenge us to do is to look at them through the lenses to see what we see that's different. So the first lens is structural lens. And the structural lens is a great place to start because it takes all of the, if you will, individuals elements out of an organization, and it just looks at how the organization is built, how work is done in an organization, who reports to who. It looks at the goals and outcomes. Are these well aligned for the organization? How is labor divided up and coordinated? How do decisions get made? Because most of these things are laid out in a process book or a rules book if you have them. So people look in structure, we can look at how budgets are handled, the authority structure, contracts, rewards, incentives, and then finally resources, how organizations use money, information, the skills within the organization, time, calendars, schedules. The second lens that we'll talk about is the human resource or trifocal lens. And trifocal is just that, 3 different areas in the human resource. One is individuals. This is personal, that human beings that work in organizations, what is similar or different about them, how well do they match with the organization's needs, and how well does the organization match with their needs. The second part of this trifocal lens is looking at organizations, the teams or groups, which it pulls quite a bit from family systems research. And then finally, to look at an organization through a medical, clinical, or if you will, organismic lens. That is viewing an organization as if it were a person. Organizations tend to have life cycles like people do, and organizations can get sick like people do, and bringing organizations back to health is really important. We'll talk more about that. So it pulls ideas from psychology, looks at organizations as our extended family. A lot of us spend enough time there. And then how the groups interact and regard. And so again, I think I just said all of this. My goodness, I should have just stuck with one slide. So the political lens, really, some people say, well, this is all about how power is used in organizations. While that is true, I think it's most important to think about power in terms of what interests do we have, that each one of us individuals has specific interests, things that we want to get done or things that we have to get done, and those interests often collide with others. So then it's how we use power to get to our interest and let those see through. And then finally, we'll use the cultural lens. So a cultural lens views organizations in terms of what really has meaning in an organization and where do people place their faith. We'll learn that from a cultural view that people often, what we see may be different in organizations than how organizations actually function. And most of the time, once a person has been in an organization for 6 months to a year and a half, they no longer realize what they're doing is driven by such deeply regarded assumptions that they can't explain them to anybody else. So for each lens, what we will do is I'll ask you to complete the assigned reading from the Bowman and Deal text, to read the articles, structural, the articles, these are what the blogs will be about, and then to watch recorded PowerPoint presentation that I will do, because I'll do one for each lens, and for most of the lenses, I include a lot of information that Bowman and Deal do not include in the text. And then ask you to partake in an ensuing discussion, so that all that leads up to writing your paper. So the lens application papers are based on The Office, and I'm asking you to watch the first season of The Office, which is made up of 6 episodes. Each episode, I think, is about 22 minutes. So what you'll do is describe a particular scene or an overall issue and how it looks, or how it plays out, if you will. So you'll take maybe 1 to 3 paragraphs to do that. And then what I'm going to ask you to do is to apply the issue or the scene or something to it to connect it to that lens. And then to analyze, and maybe not analyze as much, I can't come up with a really good word, but somehow connect it. So from the readings that you've done and the PowerPoint and the articles, what do these authors say is going on here? So to help us understand what's going on in the office based on what the authors have said from your book and from the articles. And then also to show if this is an issue, a benefit for the organization, or a problem. So an example here is, and this is just a really quick example. Somebody wrote, looking at Michael's tendencies through the Johari window, which you'll learn about, he tends to process many characteristics located in the blind quadrant. There should be a period after there. Then left described those who are in this section of the window as a bull in a china closet. The blind spot quadrant encompasses characteristics that are observed by others, but not necessarily known by the individual. I think I have less than a minute. Anyhow, so the final assignment for the class is a reflection on the lenses, just your thoughts, how you might be able to incorporate them into your life, and then other insights that you learned from the course. Finally, if you have questions, please ask. I've been teaching for 28 years. I still can't read minds. So anything that you see, a comment, an insight, whatever it is, please give me a shout. Send me an email. Thank you so much.